Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. What's up, Oculus nerds? Welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 160. I'm your host, as always. I am Dan. I am the farmer of us all, and you'll know why in part two. Samson is on my left in the video. I think I got it right this time. Samson, I don't know what your job title will be from what you've been playing. This maybe a golfer. Maybe you're the Britney Spears of the group.
I could take on many roles. But I think imposter might be my most favorite.
I like that one. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one very much. All right.
Even though we all know the real imposter is always squashy.
Yeah, fair enough. It's episode 160. You know,
we did it.
It's a fun number, 160. We have a few things to discuss today. We've got quite a few games that we've both been playing. I mean, we're in busy season now. Like, I feel like every single week there is a lot of games to play. I've already mapped out what I'm going to play for next week's episode as well, because they've got a bunch of stuff happening next week. And things are happening, Samson. I wasn't kidding when we were like, the backlog's big, and these are games that I never even wrote down on my backlog.
My backlog's always big and ever growing.
It's ever growing.
It's like pie.
Yeah,
that's my backlog.
I'm not losing any backlog weight anytime soon. In fact, it's just it's just growing now. We're getting closer to the holiday. It's like normal. But yeah, it's the backlog's big, but it's not the fact that of like the big games like Batman and Metro.
I like big backlogs.
It's the ones that creep up on you. It's the small ones. It's the games like we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a bit of DigVR, another door. Samson's obviously you've been getting the moves in the Britney Spears Beat Saber, for example, and that there's lots of things that's happening. So I'm excited to get into it. And at the end of the show as well, we have a small but good little interview with Sam Park, who is part of the marketing team behind the game Another Door, which we'll talk about in part two. And then if you're really interested in here, like how the game was developed and how they kind of fine-tuned the difficulty, and all that stuff, then stay tuned to the end. We have about 12, 13 minutes of like a little quick interview with Sam Park at the end of the show. Samson, before we get into the VR news and game updates, as we always do in the first part, this is the Let's Talk Oculus VR podcast, available every single Friday if you're new here, every Thursday if you're a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus, and if you support us at the $5 tier or more, you'll get to listen and watch this episode a day early. We also have like a Patreon only Discord channel, or the Discord channel itself. The Discord itself is free. Anyone can join. The links links below. But also, if you're a Patreon, you get the channel as well. Samson, what's happening with the Walkabout tournament? Are we getting close to the next season?
Yeah, we are getting close to the next season, Dan. We are. We're doing something a little different in preparation for our Walkabout. Our favorite course that came out this year. Mm-hmm. Next season, we will be playing all 6 courses that came out in 2024.
Nice.
Dan, are you wondering what game, which maps those were? Exactly.
Which maps? Which Walkabout maps did come out this year, Samson?
You see, it all started January 18th when Around the World in 80 Days came out, and then just a few months later, March 7th, Ice Layer came out. Just to close out winter. Mm-hmm. But then springtime came, Dan. April 25th, Venice dropped. And then we took a trip to Wallace and Gromit's home with cheese on July 25th. And then just this fall, 2 maps came out. One September 12th, the other October 24th. And those were Mars Gardens and 8-Bit Lair.
Fantastic. And there might be another one on the way, potentially. I don't know.
Well, we know Elvis is coming, I think, in 2025.
Yeah, they said Elvis 2025. So we'll see. We'll see if there's another map. They've not announced anything yet, but we'll see if they do
Those
another
came out
one.
quick. I feel like the next one that comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Elvis early January.
I agree. I wouldn't be surprised either. I feel like that's a really big one as well, and it's probably something that they've been working on for a very long time. So I'm not surprised. We might see. You never know. They might do like a holiday.
Yeah, they could do another. Yeah.
They might do a holiday themed avatars and such, right? Or hats.
Dan, you know, it'd be good for the holidays. A remastered original Gothic.
They got to get to Arizona Modern first, though.
You got to go out of order just for the holiday.
I feel like that will come, but 2025. That's a good prediction for 2025. Right at the end of 2025, we finally get the remaster of original Gothic. That would be...
We'll have to have a few predictions in our Walkabout episode.
Yeah, we can do Walkabout specific predictions in our Walkabout episode.
Exactly.
But that's all the fun episodes we'll have in the holiday. For now, Samson, we have a few news stories to talk about before we get into obviously what we've been playing and such in part 2. Let's start off with the first one here. Alien Rogue Incursion has been delayed. It was one of the big 4 titles: Batman, Metro, Alien, and Behemoth. And Alien has been delayed. Now, if you're on PSVR 2, as you are, Samson, and some people are, and some people are on PC VR, you'll still be able to play it on December 19th. It's still coming out on time. But yeah, if you're on the Quest 3 or 3S, unfortunately, it is delayed till early next year. No exact date for that. But it will be coming soon. Now, delays are always in part. It's a weird one. Like, delays are bittersweet because it's always a good thing, because obviously the game doesn't come out looking like trash or a buggy mess or such. Well, it's less likely rather, because they'll have more time to kind of get into it, and they've caught that early, which is great. But then the sad thing is that obviously if people were like really looking forward to playing that over the holidays, that was going to be their like game that they want to play over the holidays. They won't be, unfortunately. Samson, do you want to read out the little quick press release that the Survivors team put out?
I'd love to, Dan. We take pride in delivering top-tier immersive gaming experiences for our players. To ensure Alien Rogue Incursion meets these high standards and provides the Alien VR experiences that fans and players expect, we've made the difficult decision to delay the game's release on meta platforms until early next year.
No.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, and I was about to say, like, I know you're not one for horror games, but you obviously played, started playing a bit of Metro at least. Was this something that you were planning to pick up anyway, just to see what it's like on the PSVR 2 and such?
Strong leaning towards it, Dan, but no guarantees. No guarantees on this one. Even if I do get it, no guarantees I make it very far.
Yeah, you'd be like, yeah, I did the first 10 minutes and that's all I needed.
I saw the black.
Yeah, you got the OLED version and that's all you needed. That's fair enough. I'm not too bothered too much because it gives me more time to play Behemoth. You know,
I am more excited for Behemoth for sure.
That's true. Yeah, I think I am too. Like, I think, yeah, go on.
This game could take longer on PSVR 2 and Steam, and I wouldn't be too put off personally.
Yeah,
I know some people that are very much looking forward to this game, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like it might be a weird one to play over the Christmas break or the holiday break if you don't celebrate Christmas, but at the same time, you know, it's just you know, if you some people prefer their horror games.
There's no weird time to.
Yeah,
there's no weird time to play a good game.
It's also the time where a lot of people have off as well. Like they potentially will have like a week or a few days off at least, just to you know, get into some VR gaming. But hey, Behemoth, I mean, it's great for Behemoth. They obviously delayed it till December 5th, I believe. So it's kind of great for them that it's just them as the big title coming out. Moving on, Samson, a quick one just for, I think this is more appealing to you as the one.
It does look cool.
Yeah. The meta for education, this is something that they announced like early, I think in May this year. But that's now launched in beta. Now, if you don't know what that is, essentially It allows teachers, trainers, and administrators to access a range of education-specific apps and features to make it possible for them to manage multiple Quest devices at once without the need of a device in the classroom or training environment to be updated and prepared individually. Essentially, it's like, I mean, Samson, when we were at school, it was like when the teachers will bring out the laptops from the big tray and everyone gets excited, and, you know, they were super slow and such and would have it just for the hour, but it was a great time. Nowadays, people are getting VR headsets where they can interact with like human biology and see dinosaurs and such. How it's changed.
Right. Dan, let me tell you, if schools are hiring a person to help train and work with the classrooms on these, sign me up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, it's out for a few in the US and UK for universities and colleges right now. However, they did in their announcement say that they're looking to make it more of like a public release. And I'm paraphrasing here, but for the winter, which is pretty much now almost anyway. So
we're there.
It might be just a small little test run for the first month, and then maybe December or into the new term in January. That's where it's going to be at way more universities across the US and UK at the very least. But yeah, this is exciting because, you know, it's important to bring VR to the mass audience, especially the younger people there, because it's not only just for gaming, as we've known from Meta's other projects with the Orion AR head glasses and such. Like there's much more to it. Like the gaming is the only start of it in terms of the tech. Like there's so much more to VR and so many more use cases that this is going to be really important, especially just for exposure wise and such.
Yeah, and education wise, I feel like I would be able to learn and remember things so much better through experiencing them in VR as opposed to a lecture or even watching a movie.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. I mean, I can see obviously the classic people of getting annoyed that people are spending more times in screens and now they've got a screen to their face. I can already see the backlash of the internet in 2025. I can already see it. But yeah, the thing is, if you go onto the Upload VR, posted an article about this, and I'm not sure where the source, it must be like straight from Meta itself, but there's tons of reviews in that article from universities expressing their just love and joy for the experience and everything that we already know, right? Of how like it's way more immersive. You can, because it's immersive, you get to understand more and kind of, you know, interact with prototypes and such way more like than you would in like a normal classroom. And, you know, stuff that we already people know, but like there may be just like the average consumer who's never tried a VR headset. This is all new to them.
100%.
This is all new to them. I don't know if does Meta do like a education discount for the headsets? I don't think they do, right?
I have no idea. No idea. Is it Quest 3s they're getting, or is it Quest 2s?
It looks like Quest 3Ss.
Okay.
That's what the screenshots have seen, which makes a lot of sense, right? But this kind of ties in a little bit to their future, which is, like I said, the Orion AR glasses. They just actually put out a very quick, I think it's like a 20, 30-second video, or maybe 20 seconds actually. It's just a super quick montage of just like the UI looks like on the Meta Orion AR glasses. If you pause the video multiple times, it shows a bunch of key apps. So what I wrote down is what I kind of caught is that you can see yourself playing a game, seeing like a clothing outfit in AR itself, hearing videos or having videos play rather, Instagram Reels, a browser. One person was doing a video call as well, and then also widgets in AR that you
3D call.
A 3D call, yeah, exactly. And widgets in AR, like kind of like how augments was meant to be happening on the Quest, but have kind of disappeared for foreseeable, where you can kind of like pin the weather app, I don't know, on one piece of the wall, and then it always is there every time you're wearing the glasses and such. So that's just, I think that's not a concept. That's just what the software is right now. And that's the long term.
I think they say this these are probably like concepts because there's a bunch of different UIs that they show.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
The video is so fast; it's hard to.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of what they say in the article. They're like they show off way too many different looking things for this to be really. But it could be. It could be. You know.
Yeah, it could be.
I also see a Stargazer app.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many cool use cases with the just having. I mean, even when you get hopefully with the Quest 4 potentially or something, when you get something just thinner, lighter, and smaller, like the more it becomes, the more user friendly is to just use it more of a day to day. I know a lot of people do that now. Well, I say the diehards do that now. That use it as like a monitor replacement and such like that. And people use the Apple Vision Pro and such. But it's when it gets lighter and thinner and just smaller and compact, that's when you'll see the mass market then potentially use it. In more various places. Like wearing a Quest on the airplane, it's still not as ideal as what it will be in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think for quick travels like that, I think it's pretty much there, but I don't think that it's at the masses yet. Mm-hmm. But just enjoy it where we're at. You know, we still got great times.
We still got great times. Let's go back to a game for our last news story, which has a bit of comedy involved in this. But there's a game called VRSO Bare Knuckle Fighting, which I don't know if we ever covered it, to be honest. But
there was a game called that.
That's true. That got announced last year, and it's actually coming out this month. But they've renamed it to Boxing Underdog, and kind of changed the focus completely. So it will still have like the bare knuckle mode, authentic bare knuckle mode is what they're saying in the game. So people who are looking forward to that, obviously that's still there. But it now focuses on boxing itself. And to be honest, the trailer that they put out is more like a technical trailer. Once again, not long, maybe a couple minutes long, but actually really good. It was a game, because they changed the name. I didn't see it coming. I was like, I could have sworn that I would have noticed this because boxing games are so popular in VR. Thrill of the Fight obviously being the standout, but it looks really good. Like the physics of the boxing and such, it looks very authentic in terms of what they're showing. They have this really interesting feature with adaptive AI fighters. So just with the difficulty itself, I feel like there's going to be difficulty, and then there's the final difficulty is going to be AI, and it's going to kind of adapt to you, and such, which might be very difficult.
It's be impossible.
Exactly, do everything.
It knows what I'm gonna do before I do it.
Yeah. Just a hint to the 2048 future. Multiplayer modes included as well. Obviously, Thrill of the Fight 2 is going to have that. You can customize your character, and it's going to be available on or Quest 2 Pro and 3 and 3S this month, with the PC and PSVR versions coming out later next year. It's a smart move, Samson, in terms of changing the name, because I don't think many people care about bare knuckle fighting, compared to someone with boxing. Like people think boxing, and they think something like Thrill of the Fight and Creed that have done so well on the platform, and also for fitness wise, people think bare knuckle fighting, and then people probably never heard of it. Maybe it's it sounds too violent for one person or such, right? But it's a smart move for them, because I think now this is gonna to have more eyes on it. Like I'm definitely now really interested to it for it as well. What was your thoughts? Did you get to see the trailer at all?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. It definitely graphically looks pretty impressive. The physics all looked pretty good in the video. You don't really have a sense until you get in there, I'd say, though. This name change to the Underdogs makes me feel like it's got a story or a career mode where you're an underdog and you got to work your way up. But I don't know that that's even a part of this, because it was not mentioned at all.
I don't think so either. I was thinking that too. I mean, should we talk about the name Underdogs? Should we okay, so Well, first of all, before we get to the name, conveniently, this is coming out this month. We don't know exactly when this month, but Thrill of the Fights 2's early access is actually coming out next week. If you've forgotten about that, which is only going to be multiplayer only, so it's kind of be like more of it like testing the servers and testing multiplayer. Where Thrill of the Fight 2 is actually going to come out with the single player and such next year sometime, probably like mid to early. But yeah, it's going to be multiplayer only next week. So that's coming out. You've got this Underdogs coming out. And then obviously the game is named, it has Underdog in the name. And Underdogs, which came out earlier this year, maybe at the start of this year, like January, February time. I can't remember, but
I can't remember when. Great game, though.
Fantastic game. Fighting game, like mech brawler, a lot of boxing-esque involved in a way. It's a fighting game in the end of the day. But the team at Underdog seems a little bit peed off, shall we say, because it has a very similar name. Like they literally tweeted at VRSO Boxing. They said, "WTF is this? Ain't no game names left." And then I see on that like people have been obviously commenting, and then they've been also like commenting on them and such, and they seem like very peed off, and understandably, like it's now a very similar name to a very popular VR game in Underdogs, and in a way it seems kind of like they're just piggybacking off it. I don't know if I'm just thinking too much into it, but yeah, they could literally picked any other name. That they could have, if they're going for Boxing Underdogs, they could have said like Boxing Underground or
I
Underground
do feel
Boxing.
like the name is a little different in that they have it's called Boxing Underdogs, right?
Boxing Underdog. No plural.
Okay. Just one. There's only one underdog.
That's
it's
right.
you.
Yeah, exactly. You're making your way up. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand both sides of this. I guess that's where I stand. I'm gonna play the middle.
They could have done any. They could have, if they're gonna have boxing. None of the other boxing games have boxing in the name. You know, we have Creed, like I think Championship or something like that, and we've got Thrill of the Fight. Like they could have just called it boxing.
Maybe Primetime Boxing.
Exactly, Primetime Boxing, Underground Boxing,
PTB. Yo, you play PTB?
Exactly. That sounds way better. Primetime.
Thanks.
Primetime Boxing sounds.
I'm hired.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure about this game. Like it looks really good with the trailer and such. It looks really good, and I really want to try it, and I probably will when it does come out. But
how much do you think it'll be?
It's probably $20, maybe $25.
My guess is 25 to 30.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I guess Creed's 30, I think, and as well. But it's a weird one because like it was bare knuckle for so long, and they've just kind of put that, like for the last year, they've kind of just changed to boxing. I mean, they would have had all the physics and such, and it would be very similar probably to the bare knuckle mode anyway. But
yeah, you just put gloves on the hands.
Yeah, I guess so. I've never watched bare knuckle boxing. I guess it's just boxing without the gloves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of blood involved in that case. A lot of sore knuckles too. But yeah. Anyway, you interested in
Neither's
this?
For me.
Are you going to pick this one up? Are we having a fight in Boxing Underdog?
Not that interested in this.
Yeah.
But I might end up with it. We'll see.
I mean,
I'm not going to be the first to buy this. I'll say that. If somebody else wants, they're like, hey, we're going to be boxing, I might be convinced into making a night out of it. But
we should definitely do Thrill of the Fight at least.
Well, Thrill of the Fight, I'm in.
Yeah, Thrill of the Fight for sure. I mean, I'm going to try both and we'll see what it's like, to be honest.
Oh, Dan, bring back the boxing video.
Yeah, that's my boxing video on YouTube got like over 300,000 views. It was ridiculous. Yeah. And a lot of the comments was
You're probably still getting paid off of it.
It's facts. It's not much anymore, but yeah. It's quite funny because a lot of the comments are just telling me that I can't box to save my life. But maybe that worked in my aid. It is.
Yeah. Great farming.
It's hilarious. It's so funny. But yeah, anyways, that's Boxing Underdog, not Underdogs. And that is coming out sometime this month. So stay tuned for a future podcast on that. Samson, let's round off part one with the game updates. What do we have this week?
All right, we've got 3 game updates here. Smash Drums unveils a new music pack. Sorry about that. Celebrating metal legends. Songs include "Bullet for My Valentine" by the Waking the Demon. Children of Bodom. Are You Dead Yet? I think I might have gotten it backwards.
Yeah. Bullet for Valentine is
it's a band. Yeah. It's okay.
It's kind of funny that you're doing it that way, though. Waking the Demon, Bullet for Valentine. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Continue. Moving right along. Lamb of God, Laid to Rest. Megadeth, Hangar 18. Motorhead, Ace of Spades. Out now for $5.99.
And it would be funny that band Ace of Spades, right? That Motorhead song is so good. That Motorhead song is so good.
100%. Puzzling Places has a brand new premium puzzle pack. Wow, that's great alliteration. World Heritage Tour is here, available now for $5.99 on Quest, PSVR 2, and Pico platforms. And I did see it has Abe Lincoln Memorial in it. I'm not sure what else it has.
Ooh.
And then Breachers has a winter surprise for us. It's not necessarily out yet, but they mentioned in their Discord. It seems worth mentioning. Which will be unlock XP and charms for your guns. So challenges, which will unlock XP. Sorry about that. And after that, Dan, they mentioned they buried the lead at the end. They're having a new map come out in December.
Are they? Oh, cool.
Yeah, they are.
Is it like Christmas themed or anything like that?
Who knows? Who knows?
That
hasn't been teased yet.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, new challenges to unlock XP, charms for the guns, and a new map very soon.
Nice. They are the game updates for this week, and that will do for part 1. In part 2, we'll talk about all of the new games that we've been playing, so we'll see you then.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
All right, welcome back to part 2, what we've been playing. Samson, you take the lead. What is one of the games that you've been playing this week?
Well, let me go right through Another Door, because I've been playing a little bit of Another Door, a little bit alone, and more so with you. And I hopped into this alone. I forget which map I did. I believe it was the dolls one, because I see in your notes you wrote down I had a jump scare, and I did experience a jump scare. But eventually I just got stuck, and I didn't know what the puzzle I really needed what pieces of the puzzle I needed to put together to even solve the puzzle. So I couldn't figure out the puzzles, I guess is what I'm saying.
So back up quick, Samson, there.
Let me back up.
For the folks who don't know what Another Door is.
It's an escape room game, Dan.
That's it. It's an escape room.
And I got stuck. I couldn't escape.
Yeah, I'm
still
telling
there.
you now, I've done 2 of them. I mean, I'll tell you my thoughts properly in a second, but I've done 2 of them. I still can't escape.
There you go. And the one we did together, we got up to what we believe is the final puzzle. Mm-hmm. And we know how the puzzle works, but we're not quite there yet.
No, and we tried it twice. Like first time I think we had like 10 minutes to solve it because we running out of time. And then we played it again just to quickly go through, and we had like a full 35 minutes. We still could not figure it out.
Yeah, it's a hard puzzle.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you like escape rooms? Have you done escape rooms in real life before?
I would never propose the outing to an escape room with my friends, but I would tag along to an escape room with my friends.
Now I'm a big fan of escape rooms, but doing them, you like a good group. You want a good group with you to help you to do it. And this game, as you said, like we've played it together. We played there's 5 specific maps, shall we say, or rooms, or they call it episodes. And we did the one in the laboratory, which isn't particularly scary, but it's eerie.
Do you think we would have done better with the third?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. Sometimes when I've seen escape rooms in real life in escape rooms, sometimes it's just easier. The more people you have, not particularly easier, but sometimes you have a range of different minds. It's easier.
Yeah, and you bounce off each other.
Exactly. Or like there's one puzzle that maybe me and you could not get. We were stuck on that last one, but maybe a third person, it would just work in their brain. They're just like, oh yeah, I got this and such. Like from us two, we were just stumped. We were trying all sorts and still couldn't get it.
Dan, once I figured out how the puzzle worked, I immediately knew I would never solve that puzzle.
That's very fair enough. So it's a horror themed, but it depends on the actual map you're in. So the multiplayer, when you're in the multiplayer, you do it via room code, and you can choose like the 5 different rooms that you want. Okay. And from what we heard from Sam Park in the interview, which you can obviously stick around to the end of this show to listen to her talk about the game, but they kind of differ in difficulty the more you go through the episodes, is what she said. So the one we tried, the laboratory one, that was the third one. So we just jumped straight into that one. And I thought we did really well. Like, it was very satisfying to get some of the puzzles. Like, obviously I'm not going to reveal what those puzzle answers are, but there's features where like it works in co-op.
We kind of crushed it.
We did
up till the end.
I thought we did really well to the end. Like, we figured it out really well. Like, there's cool co-op aspects of it where like you're shining the light at specific areas where I'm like pushing buttons, or vice versa, and it is really fun. They've captured what an escape room is like, and they've captured the fun of being with another person trying to figure out puzzles, and it works with relatively low glitches. I mean, we did have a little graphical glitch where like I couldn't see something working, but you could the second time we went round, but that only happened with one little puzzle, and then it was fine after that. So there's a few little graphical glitches and such, but we did really well, and it was so much fun playing it with you. But then I went in and did solo just like you did, and in the solo one, the puzzle, I think that I didn't get to the lab one because I couldn't finish the first bloody one, but you can't choose which one you're going into. At least you can't at the start.
I did do the doll one. Okay.
Yeah, so it just starts you in like episode 1, which is the dollhouse, which is full on horror. Like, it is full on horror, that one. If you played something like Affected the Manor, it gives me that vibes. It also gives me vibes from The Seventh Guest as well, in terms of the puzzles. It's not as super polished as Seventh Guest, but it kind of gives me that kind of vibe.
I guess I'm more fine in this type of horror because I know, like, the worst thing that's happening to me in this game is something flashes in front of my eyes.
I mean, there is jump scares, and I'm not going to say what they are just in case people want to try it and such, but there is quite a big jump scare. I think that happens in the first one.
But it's not the same as like playing a Resident Evil game where things are like trying to come and kill you.
Yeah, that's true. It's more just like quick, cheap scares in a way more than anything. Yeah, that's true. So Samson, without like kind of giving it away, in terms of the dollhouse, can you remember where you kind of got stuck? No, I got stuck. So basically, in the dollhouse, there's one area where you have to get 3 keys, and I came across the puzzle. You know,
where you can see the colored keys.
Yeah,
but I couldn't get to them. Definitely,
I got the blue one. But then there's basically a puzzle where what are they called? You know, where there's like let's say it's like a flat puzzle. There's 9 squares. Each square has a different picture, and you have to move them about. There's like one blank space, and you have to move them about to get the picture correct. I got stuck on that. I was trying it for ages, and I was like, I can't really get this to save my life. So I also got stuck. But I would definitely. It's also scarier when you're on your own as well. Like it would be,
Definitely.
having someone in there would be helpful. But a few things to just talk about on the game is that they use the flashlight in a clever way, where there's a flashlight on you which like fixed to your head, and that whatever's in the flashlight is rendered essentially, and everything in darkness is not very much rendered. So
That's creative.
yeah, it's like a creative way to kind of get more performance, because obviously with fixed foveated rendering and such, and it works great. To be honest, you don't notice it too much. Like I said, it's not amazingly polished like something like Seventh Guest, like a bigger title like that, published by a bigger place. But it's still like relatively low amount of bugs. The puzzles work really well. You never get frustrated with the actual puzzles not working. You get frustrated because you can't solve them sometimes. Or
It is a challenging game.
Yeah.
It is a crowded space, though. There are a few other escape room games out there.
Yeah, I've actually not played any of them before. I think it's called Escape Room Simulator is one of them, which I came across, which is reviewed well.
I haven't played that one, but I have played the Rooms of Realities one.
The Rooms of Reality, yeah, I remember that one as well. But I don't think I've played that one either. But it does get me more excited about playing other ones as well, because this one's worked so well, but obviously more to do with like more on the horror kind of theme. Even though I would say it's in terms
Eerie.
of horror, it's quite tame. Yeah, it's more of a eerie, if anything. But it does get me excited to try other ones as well. But yeah, like the one I've seen from so far, the puzzles work really well. The only thing I would probably dock points for is that I would wish that you could try and go for a hint if you need to. Like if you're really stuck and you have no idea, like could you use a hint and then maybe you get a lower score or lower rank? But there's no hints whatsoever. Now, Sam, who you'll obviously listen to at the end of the show, she did say their Discord channel, which I will link below.
Yeah.
If you go in there, you can talk to other players, get hints, or like ask for advice or something like that, and work with other people. But I'm not sure about you, Samson, but I would give it 4 stars out of 5. I think it's an excellent game. It really gives it. It's really intense in a like atmospheric way, and it's very immersive, and all the puzzles work really well. And when we played a couple of days ago or so, I had a great time. I thought it was really fun, and it felt just like if I was in an escape room with like just friends or other people like in real life, and it captures that perfectly. So yeah, I think this is a hidden gem, to be honest. I think probably some people might skip it because of the horror theme and such, but like, yeah, I would definitely check this out if you're into escape rooms.
I think it's $20 USD as well.
Yeah.
I definitely want to hop in again with more people.
Yeah.
It's 3 or 4, I forget.
I think it's up to 4 people. Okay. I don't know. I'll check that out whilst you're.
I want to get in there with 4 people if I can, or 3 if I can.
Yeah, it's $20 US. Sorry, and it is. I don't know. Keep talking. I'm not sure. I'll try and find it. But yeah, there's online co-op for.
Well, I'll go on to the next game.
Go on.
All right. We'll come back in with it if you can get 4 players or not. Because my next game, Dan, I got a wheel set up, and I've gotten into Galaxy Kart. Galaxy Kart is a kart racer in the vein of Mario Kart, if you will, in that you drive through crates, you get weapons, and with the wheel, it's got 4-player co-op.
Another great
people.
News. Yeah,
great news. Galaxy Kart, on the other end, can be up to 6 people, but they don't have private lobbies yet, it seems. I did get in with live open mic, and I was playing, Dan, one hand on my wheel, the left hand on the wheel, right hand PSVR 2 controller, so I could drive with one hand and use my weapon with the other, and it felt really good.
Wait, could you not use the buttons on the controller itself, on the wheel itself, to use your weapons?
Well, you need to throw the weapons and aim them.
No, well, there we go. Okay, so it's a little bit different. I haven't played Jet Galaxy Kart, to be honest. It's something that I've slept on. So
Galaxy Kart, if you don't have a wheel, you either use a joystick to control, or you can like grab a fake wheel.
Yeah, just a plate.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. There's a good amount of maps. Each world, if you will, has different maps in it, and it's a good time. It's a good time if you're looking for a kart racer. If you're not looking for a kart racer, you're not going to enjoy this one.
It's the wheel itself. Which one did you get? You got the GT
G29.
G29, which is more of like the official Gran Turismo 7 wheel for the PlayStation, essentially, right?
It is a PlayStation branded wheel. Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. How is the wheel itself, though? Like, did you play GT7 with it?
I did one race with GT7. I did more Galaxy Kart. But it did feel good with GT7 too. It did feel good. It felt really natural.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? I'm sure it has like the haptics as well. Like, I think it's
it's got some resistance on there.
Nice. And have you got it set up like on the desk, like clamped on the desk?
No, it wouldn't clamp on my desk because the desk is a little tapered, so I had to get a stand, if you will.
Oh yeah, with the driving stand, pedals on the bottom, and all that. Do you have the do you have the shift, the gear stick?
No shifts. I'm not that fancy yet.
Yeah, fair enough. That's when you are like a real racer. Then when you start getting the shifts, gear sticks. I don't know what you call it in the US. I know you
shifter,
just shifter and such. Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm not a car guy.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm a go-kart guy.
Yeah, I can see that when you played one race in GT7 with the official wheel, but played most of it in Galaxy cars. Fair enough.
To be fair, that was also because Mike wanted to play some Galaxy cars. So
I need to hop into that. I feel like it's a
crossplay. That's how he did it. I was on PlayStation, he was on Meta.
Yeah, and I've heard. I mean, from yourself and a lot of people, like it's just a really solid kart racer. It's a really solid kart racer. I can't believe I've slept on it, to be honest. But yeah, fair enough.
Wake up.
Wake up. I mean, the thing is, right, Samson, you've been busy driving cars and, with a steering wheel, like, what most of us are quite used to. I've been in the digger. With all these like shifters. 2 sticks. And the digging. It's difficult. Okay, let's talk about DigVR. I've been playing a bunch of DigVR. I got very motion sick, but we'll get onto that in a second. Basically, when you start the game, there's different levels of intensity. You've got like, I think there's 4 or 5 actually. There's quite a lot. But I went straight into the intense, which just says you're seasoned in VR, and I was like, yeah I've seasoned in VR.
You've been here before.
I've played this before, and I'm this DigVR. like what how bad is it going to be? Boy, was I difficult. Boy, was I wrong. Sorry. So let's start off. The driving of the digger is very difficult. It's obviously more of like an arcadey simulation, shall we say, this game, in a way. Like it's kind of like,
you think so?
Yeah, it's like I think it's more in the power wash kind of vein, in terms of like it's not exactly like farming simulator or anything like that, but it's got some of the aspects of it where the digger itself, if no one's ever used a digger before, which I hadn't until right now, is that essentially you have sticks everywhere. So you have 2 sticks in front of you. One for
Did it take you a while to figure out how to drive this thing?
It took me ages. So even though I had the tutorial, it took me ages. So you have the left stick, which is for your left hand, right stick for your right hand. And basically, if you push forward with both of your hands, it goes forward. You pull back, you go backwards. Now you push forward with your left, it starts to turn left, and then you have to actually use your right to actually go forward and such. It was like when I played Halo for the first time and I trying to figure out how to bloody drive with the 2 thumbsticks took me actually quite a while. And this is the same
because you can use the thumbsticks to drive too, but I much prefer to use the hand to touching, like the physical.
I agree. I found the sticks actually quite a little bit more difficult because there's not as much as travel with the sticks as it would be like just using it in VR. But then once you get to like a place that you need to dig, you've also got to actually operate your digger. And then to the further left and right of the like say acceleration sticks is your arm sticks, your, like say, digger arm sticks. I'm probably butchering that. If there's farmers listening to this, I'm sorry. I do not know these terms. But essentially the left one, as far as I'm aware, because I still keep getting confused, the left one kind of brings it up and down. But then if you turn it left, then your like actual digger rotates.
It'll rotate you.
Rotates left, and then you turn it right, it rotates right. Okay. Then your right stick itself, if you turn it left, it like opens the dig, like the claw, shall we say?
The handle. Yeah.
And if you turn it right, it closes the claw. But then if you bring it up, it brings the arm closer to you. If you bring it away, then
it'll like bend the arm at the joint.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a lot going on, and it's I found it very difficult to start actually digging. And I'm like digging, like it gives me like a little like area where you should dig, and I'm digging like 4 feet away from that area because my arm's going so far, and I'm just digging. And then as soon as you pick up the dirt, then obviously you need to rotate to the right and empty the dirt. The amount of times I just emptied the dirt like in random spots and such.
Really?
Yeah, like I got better
that I was really good at in the tutorial at the very least.
Fair enough. And then so then you do that, and then you do the tutorial. You go into little different places to try and get controls, and then you also have to pick stuff up. So there's like hay on the ground, and you have to learn how to pick it up and put it somewhere. There's also, you'll find out when you're digging there's a rock, and then you have to change. I was about to say change weapons, but change your like attachment from the claw, shall we say, to this like
the jackhammer thing.
Exactly. That's it. First of all, for some reason it took me ages to realize the X button is the bottom left of your left controller for some reason.
Yeah, that I will say that's like, because you don't really remember what's what. So I wish it was like a thing in VR to show you.
Yeah, just like an indicator or something. Luckily, I have my open-ended facial interface, so I could look down and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, but I find the most difficult is just like maneuvering the arm is the most difficult, is what I found when operating the digger. But then you also can leave the digger. So when you leave, you're in your like I don't know, hut basically with all the different workers, and you'll see that you can customize your digger. There's a bunch of options, so you can actually buy. I'm not sure if you probably unlock diggers and then you can just buy cosmetics. So there's a bunch of paints that was, I'm not sure if you can actually buy diggers itself, but I'm only on the first one, obviously. Then there's missions. So the map opens up and you can choose different missions. And the cool thing is that you can choose a mission to either do it graded or in Zen mode. So Zen mode, you can do whatever you want. It won't affect your score, but you can just have a good time digging, kind of like a power wash simulator in a way. But then graded is more like you have to get things exact. So for example, in one of the missions, you go to someone's garden, they want to install a pool or whatever like that. There's a yellow dotted line around where you need to dig, and then there's a red dotted line around that. So if you go past the red dotted line, that docks you points. When you're moving around the garden, if you hit like a table or a chair or something that's on the garden, that docks your point. And basically when you're docking points, it's you losing money. So like, let's say the first mission is like you'll get $300 for the job. You'll lose money because you have to obviously repair the damage and such. This is where I got really motion sick, Samson, because I was digging so fast. I was kind of getting into it a little bit. I was still like moving all over the place and such. And what I also realized is when you rotate your actual digger, then when you go forward and backwards, you're on
it changes where you go.
You're on an angle, so you're just it's hilarious. It's actually be funny if you could do like DigVR races with people, because I feel like it'd be absolute manic. But
I would always have to rotate myself to make sure I was facing forward and back.
Yeah, but then eventually, I'm not gonna lie, I did get like really motion sick because I had it on intense, and it basically, there's no tunneling or anything like that, and the constant moving left and right from like digging and then emptying, digging and emptying. It just got me. I was standing up, maybe sitting down on my chair whilst doing it would be
Why would you play
easier.
this game standing up?
I don't know. I was just standing up because I was playing another door, and then I just went into DigVR, and I just stayed. And I was like, "This. I should have just been in my desk chair because I could swivel." And yeah, absolutely.
I played in my chair where I was swiveling.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I got really motion sick. I've not been motion sick for a while, and I normally be able to catch it where I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a bit queasy. Maybe I should kind of slow down or just stop. But I didn't really catch it, and then it got really bad, and I honestly,
it caught you.
It caught me. I sat down and I was like, oh, I feel like crap, and then I just laid down for like 20 minutes, had some food, and I was not bad. I'm still kind of feeling a little bit of the effects, but not too bad. But yeah, I don't know if it's one for me, but it's a really fun game. Like it's if you were into Power Wash Simulator, for example, I could see you being interested in DigVR because it's kind of cut from the same cloth.
I like that it has its whole like story.
Yeah. Itself. What are your like? How much have you played? And what are your
very
thoughts?
little, just up until that garden part. But I did enjoy what I did play, and it does feel pretty polished.
Very polished. Yeah.
But just I was trying to get the feel of the digger.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Did you notice the music? I thought the music was wicked. There's a radio itself, and the radio's everywhere. So in your digger, there's a radio on the right hand side, and then when you go into your like little hut, there's a radio there and such. It's definitely not called a hut, but you know what I mean. But there's a radio, so you can turn the radio on, and there's so many different music channels. Think it's radio stations, rather. Think of it like GTA in a way, where there's a ton of different radio stations. And when I was in my digger to start, I was in the tutorial, or not just after the tutorial, once you can use the radio, I was listening to like some English country music. I was like, this sounds like farming music right now. It's very different to like what an American country would sound like very farmland music. And I'm like, okay, this feels just right. But then when I went and destroyed this lady's garden as I was getting motion sick, I was listening to
metal.
No, I was listening to like some hardcore drum and bass, and I was getting into it. And I think that's what caused me as well. I think it's called like...
Sorry, miss, I got into my beats.
Exactly. I can't remember what the station's called. You'll know it. It's like, I think it's called like dubstep something or something, whatever. But it's so much.
You won't be surprised to learn that I played it on mute, Dan.
Samson, the music's fantastic. I mean...
I think I was watching something on TV.
The music's... You know, like, what's that game? Arcade Paradise VR? I mean, I think there's the same publisher, Wired. I think so. I'm blanking here because I wrote this down, but I'm pretty sure it's the same publisher. But I mean, different developer. But the music's fantastic. Like, if there's one thing that I would really come back to this, is that there's so many different music stations, and the music in all of them are really good. And once again, just like Arcade Paradise, I'm curious to see if there's going to be a DigVR like Spotify or something like that playlist soon, because the music is really good, to be honest. It might be something I come back to, but I might try it again whilst I'm sat in the seat. The music's banging. From what I've played, if you like Power Wash Simulator, those kind of like games, but the thing is, this is a little bit less approachable because it is very difficult to get in, like to get used to that digger. Like, it's going to take you some time to get used to it, where Power Wash, it's very, very straightforward to kind of just pick up, and obviously getting better and such. But this one's a bit of a learning curve. But if you like those kind of games, then I think you're gonna really like DigVR, and I would not give this one a miss. It's an arcade simulation, I would say.
Well, it sounds like you really dig it.
There you go. That's the end of the podcast. What else you got going on, Samson? They're the two games that I've got playing, but what else you got going on? I hopped
into a little bit of the Beat Saber Britney Spears. I played 3 or 4 of the songs. Nice. The ones I was most familiar with, which were the older songs of hers.
There's new songs?
I enjoyed them all. There's a lot of songs on there I don't recognize, so I assume they're new.
Fair enough.
Newer from when I once knew.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they're pretty good, pretty well mapped. Your your things are like a blue and a pink, pink. It was nice little touch. The world things, arenas, I don't know what you call them, maps, if you will. They honestly, I was focused so much on the beats, but they fit the part. They were good. If you're into Britney Spears, I recommend. If not, stay away.
Yeah, I think I recognize like
Pretty
3
easy.
songs on this list. I probably have heard a couple more, but yeah, maybe it is like some of the newest stuff. I don't know.
Precisely.
Sweet.
Dan got into Golf Plus. They have apparently 3 new maps that I haven't played, but I got into the Canyon course, which is the most recent one that they did that was not affiliated with a PGA or an official course. It was their own course. And boy, oh boy, was it difficult.
Yeah.
Because I have started playing on pro mode, so no assists, but I was a plus 20.
Ooh. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, plus 20, I think that's like my real golf scores, to be honest. So
it's basically
accurate.
a double bogey every hole.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's tough. I imagine it's how I'd be as a real golfer. The course is beautiful, though. Absolutely expansive. It's huge. You feel like you're playing in the Grand Canyon type of deal. Very, very pretty.
How are the greens? Are the greens really fast or like slopey?
They were not very overly slopey compared to a lot of the other ones I've played. As far as speed, it depends what game mode you play on.
Put on. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I always find the ones with like a lot of terrain. Like,
Yale is very hilly, I remember in particular.
Yeah, fair enough. Very good.
Got into my Friday Night Breachers 5-on-5 tactical shooter. I don't know what you call that type of game. It plays like Rainbow Six Siege. If you don't know it, get in it.
Tactical
it's a great time.
You just nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. We've been playing a good amount of Control Point, and which is the game mode where you have to take over points and control them for a certain amount of time.
Fair enough.
Which is kind of why they call it Control Point. And yeah, right now there's 6 maps, 8 maps total if you count the 2 deathmatch maps. So I think they need at least 9, I think. I hope that they settle on at least 9. We'll see. It's very fun though. Great time. Got into some big screen, played another FMV that's full motion video movie. This one was called Late Shift, and this one had no streamer mode, so I had to make these decisions very quickly. And I think we got a group of probably 5 to 10 people or so. It was pretty good. We definitely want to play it again. It's got a few different endings, definitely a lot of pivots that you could choose. And that's Late Shift. If you're interested.
What's the no stream? What do you mean by no streamer mode?
No streamer mode. So you like the streamer modes would pause when you would have a decision to make, whereas this one just you only had a few seconds.
Oh, okay. And then how would you make it make those decisions in big screen? Like, can you click on it all there, or you're the one hosting?
Well, I'm on my desktop, so I have my mouse and I can see the desktop, and I just click on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For all those interested in Late Shift, though, it's a high stakes FMV crime thriller. Forced into a brutal London heist, your choices matter in this interactive cinematic experience with adaptable storylines that lead to one of 7 conclusions. Your decisions are you.
Nice.
And you are your decisions. Yep. After last week, I also got into some Among Us, as previously teased, with Noble Squashy, Live Open Mic, and Gang. I think we got up to 9 or 10 people again.
Nice.
Great time. Squashy killed somebody right in front of me twice and pinned it on me twice, and I got voted out twice. It was a great time.
Very good. Very good. Are you playing on Squashy's Discord or?
No Discord affiliation. He does tend to live stream it though on YouTube.
Yeah, fair enough. Very nice.
And
do you have like a regular time that you play? Among Us?
Yeah, every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday.
Nice.
We did take a week off, so it turned into we skipped a week, but now we're just every other on the opposite Wednesdays we were. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll flip back again.
Sure.
Holidays are coming up. Then I got my girlfriend's daughter into Colorspace. She was in Colorspace for quite some time. She colored at least 3 different drawings, if you will, coloring spaces. And initially, before Colorspace, so Colorspace is a coloring app. It's like you select a color, you point what you want to be colored in, and it auto fills it in for you.
Like 3D coloring, but then it's like there's full on animations and such. It's not just like a flat 2D, and
it's all around you. Yeah.
It's all around.
She did pretty well, and I have the VR mat, and she just really stayed on that and kind of looked around.
Nice.
But sometimes her hands get too close together, and she's like, "I can't select it." I'm like, "Just move away, aim the laser," and she'll get it.
How old is she?
Almost 5.
Almost 5. It's incredible. It's really good.
And initially, she was like, "Can I play the game with the shark hands?" And I'm like, "I don't know what game you're talking about. The shark hand game,
Yes,
with the fish, Grocket."
Yeah,
Grocket. So Grocket
it's like our favorite game. It's a favorite.
Normally
game.
A multiplayer game.
Yeah.
But for a kid, I just set her up. You can make playlists, and I just picked her favorite games and I put them in multiple times.
Yeah.
And because the games play pretty quickly, they're 30 or 60 seconds, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they just and it's all mixed reality, so she can see around, and it just fills the room with either butterflies, balloons, or fish, and she's got to pop, eat, or
what's not lot to like, it's as a kid especially.
Exactly.
You're running around just like because it's also a mixed reality as well, which is the fun part, because it's just all in your room and you can see all these, fish in your room and you've got shark hands. Yeah, I can see why it's a great home. Even for adults, like you play that game and you feel like a child in a good way.
It's a good time. Grocket and Colorspace. And Dan, that just about wraps it up for me.
Wow, that's it. A lot of games. And
I still got to get back into Batman and Metro, but yeah, I'm not just sitting on my hands.
No, I mean, me too. I need to get back into Batman, but it's like every week. I think because we do this podcast, I'm just like, I want to play another game to talk about. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, but I know next week there's at least 2 that are coming out that we have access to that we need to talk about, that I'm really excited about. But stay tuned for next week. Actually, I think there's 3 of them, but yeah, stay tuned. And then eventually I feel like I'll get back into Batman once we not Thanksgiving, I'm kind of away, but like maybe towards the holidays again, maybe when we've recorded like 2 or 3 podcasts in bulk, because they're going to be about like the Walkabout courses and just our year in review and such. And then that'll be a couple of weeks where we don't have to do the podcast. And that's when I can be like, okay, I can play a game that even though I've talked about it before, I can get back into it. But yeah, all right, that will do for part 2. In part 3, we will we'll wrap things up on our end with the games out this week. But remember to stay tuned for part 4, where we'll be talking about Another Door with Sound Park. So
I'm also going to add in the 2 Walkabout courses for week 1 of the season 7 of Walkabout Tournament.
Okay, perfect. And we got that as well. So stay tuned for part 3. We'll see you then. Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show. Welcome back to part 3, games out this week, and I guess the Walkabout Tournament Season 7, as Samson was saying. Samson, take it away. What is our first... Wait, hold on. We have 3 games on the list, so what is our first game?
Our first game is Starship Troopers Continuum. It's 25 years since Battle of Klendathu, and the war between the Federation and the Arachnid is deadlocked. But the planet, Janus 4, holds a secret that threatens to tip the balance of the war one way or the other. 2 to 3 player online squad-based combat. Team up to survive. Single player? Hell yeah. Take on the bugs alone to earn weapon and trooper upgrades, perks, customization options, and more. 20 plus weapons. Aim well and reload quickly if you want to live. The classic bugs return and bring new friends. All mean, all hungry, all lethal. Boss battles against tankers and plasmas, plus something new. Team up and fight the war of the future against the most lethal enemy imaginable, with the life of every living human being at stake in Starship Troopers Continuum.
Dun, 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 dun. Samson, too many bugs for me.
Yeah, I've already pre-ordered this one on PlayStation. I'm not into Star Troopers that much, but I got a few people I know I can play this one with, and that's what I'm most interested in. Slaughtering some bugs with some friends.
Yeah, I feel like people, I mean, the movie's a cult classic, so I feel like the people who are into that.
Maybe I'll get a big screen night for it.
That'll be cool. I'd love to join if my big screen was working.
There we go.
But I don't know. We can try again. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Exo Cars. Strap into Exo Cars and compete against real players in single-player races and real-time multiplayer. Exciting driving feedback, advanced physics, and graphics make for an unparalleled VR buggy racing experience. They don't mean buggy and bugs. They mean an actual buggy. Each single player race puts you in against ghosts of real opponents matched to your skill level, allowing you to progress and become a top-notch pilot organically. Real-time multiplayer lets you compete with friends or find new ones in social lobbies. Whether you're a casual driver or seasoned champion, our matchmaking will suit your needs. Are you ready to release the brake? Carving through the wilderness or tearing up the asphalt, Exo Cars promises an unparalleled experience that will keep you coming back for more. Tournaments with real prizes, there is car customization, there is brand new game modes, which are new, and challenges and seasonal events will come soon as well. I'm assuming that's just what's coming on the horizon, to be honest. Exo Cars, I wonder if this will work with your wheel.
Who knows? It does look interesting, but
I think on PSVR 2 as well.
Yeah.
The graphics look fantastic. And I'm just talking about the Quest version. Like, if you watch the trailer, unless that's not rendered in, but I'm pretty sure it is. It looks phenomenal. And it makes me want to try it just because the graphics look amazing.
Yeah, you'll get sick.
Yeah, it's true. Moving on.
Yes, moving on to DigVR. DigVR captures the sheer joy, adrenaline, and frustrations of life on a digger in an exciting experience for novices and pros. Featuring authentic, immersive controls that recreate the feeling of driving a real digger, DigVR is a light simulation game with a casual arcade twist. Grow your business in the charming town of Diglington, a place where everything can be fixed by the power of a digger. Take on a variety of jobs for the town's residents, from traditional construction jobs to more obscure requests. Accompanying you is Dig FM, a dedicated radio station with a wide selection of music to brighten any day. Available to play solo or with a friend, get hands-on with fast-paced minigames or unwind in the sandbox mode. Then, discover a trove of lost treasure in a standalone mode where new items are added regularly. Whether this is your first time operating a digger or you've already mastered it, digging fortunes await.
Nice. Diglington. Diglington.
Diglington.
That's very satisfying. Diglington. Yeah, I guess I didn't read that before, but light simulation with casual arcade twist.
Yeah, you nailed it.
We were talking about it, right? So there we go. DigVR is the game to pick up this week out of the 3 games. I mean, I haven't played any of the other 2, but Samson, what is the season 7, which will be our last season of Walkabout mini golf tournament before the new year? What's new?
Especially because it's 6 weeks long. Yes, so we're going to be starting off with the first one and the most recent one, just to be cool like that. So Around the World in 80 Days Easy Mode and 8-Bit Layer Hard Mode.
Okay. Jesus Christ. 8-bit layer hard mode. It's not like that. It's hard at all. You know, that's a tough one. It's a
Easy
very
one.
tough one. That's an easy one?
No, it's hard. It's very hard.
So Samson, if people are listening or new to the show, no idea what you're talking about here, how does one get
What
involved?
am I talking about?
How does one get involved in this?
One gets involved by coming down to the Discord, joining in, and finding the Walkabout Stuff Discord channel. And there you can find all that there is to know about the Walkabout seasons and their tournaments, and the tournaments and their seasons. As every week, I choose 2 courses, and the crazy people in our Discord play these courses on race mode and stroke play mode. And then they submit their scores to me. Then I compile them all and release them.
Nice. That's a good way of saying it. Perfect. Well, that's Walkabout Season 7, and that's the regular show, and which will wrap up part 3. Like I said, in part 4, we have a special little part with Sam Park. Sam Park is part of the marketing team behind Another Door, and she gives us like a quick 10-minute kind of interview on a bunch of like frequently asked questions, I would say, and just curious if you're curious to like learn about the development of the game and how it came about. So stay tuned for the next 10 minutes so you can learn a bit more, and definitely check out Another Door if you haven't already. Links will be in the description below. Samson, got anything else for anybody before we wrap up part 3?
Not much else. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead still. Yeah,
do you be playing on the Steam Deck or just on the PC?
No, just on the PC.
How does it look?
It looks like apparently, I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
But apparently it looks no better than it used to, really.
I feel like that might be just the classic nostalgia goggles of what you hope it was. I played the original Red Dead on the Xbox, actually, maybe like 4 years ago when I had one, because it's on Game Pass, the original one. And it looked okay, but it wasn't a bit. I was kind of like wishing it looked better and such. Now, granted, this was the like Series S, so it wasn't like super enhanced or anything like that. But
it definitely, okay. I feel immersed, and I think it looks good enough for me.
Yeah,
I'm not a graphics snob.
Yeah, I don't think they've done too much on it, but yeah, you can just run it in 4K. Nice one. Yeah, I do see you on Discord, and you're playing that a lot, to be fair. Very good. All right, that will do for part 3. Enjoy the interview in part 4, and we will obviously see you next week as well for another episode of Let's Talk Oculus. All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, everybody. This is obviously part 4 with our guest, Sam Park, who is behind the marketing team behind the game Another Door, the escape room game that we've been talking about in this episode. Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me here.
Fantastic. So, Sam, before we go into the details, for our listeners who haven't heard of it, can you give us a quick rundown of what Another Door is exactly?
Sure. Another Door is a VR escape room experience that pulls you deep into a world of immersive, spine-chilling environments, each packed with its own gripping story and airy challenges. Whether you are navigating a tap-filled layer designed by a mad scientist, or uncovering dark secrets in a haunted doll's room cursed by a restless spirit, or unraveling mysteries in a secret lab where hallucinations blur in line between reality and nightmare. Each episode offers a new and heart-pounding adventure.
Nice.
Fantastic. Yeah, they do feel a bit spooky. So what inspired this title?
Sorry. It all started very simply. Most of our team members are offline escape room enthusiasts, and we wanted to incorporate the things we love into the game design. VR allowed us bring them imagination to life and create a new experience. Initially, we started with a small VR game room in a physical space, but we expanded the platform to a consumer version so more people could play together.
Yeah, see, this game is really fun when it is co-op. When I am like me and Samson played it yesterday together, and it was super fun to do it together. But
I
what was?
definitely,
Oh, go on.
I definitely preferred that to when I played it solo for sure.
Yeah, and much better. So what were some of the toughest challenges you faced during the development of this game?
During development, we didn't have many opportunities to communicate directly with players, so we had to rely on our own experiences to guess what they might like or dislike. For example, several of our team members are particularly prone to VR motion sickness, so we focused on minimizing any discomfort, which led us to stick with teleport movement. However, once the game was released, we found that players had a stronger preference for free movement, or at the very least, wanted the freedom to choose. In response to this, our upcoming update will include movement option to meet players' preference. It's already released. Developers and players won't always see things the same way, but we found that from the player's perspective, the users are often right.
Yeah, that's fair
Yeah,
enough.
I don't. I use teleport still in Walkabout. There are definitely games where I prefer smooth movement, but the teleporting in this game didn't bother me so much. Did it bother you much, Jan?
No, I thought teleportation worked absolutely fine because there's a lot of times where you're standing in front of a few places just looking and everything, so movement's not too much of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I find myself actually moving in my own space, to be honest, to like bend down and kind of walk to the side and such. So, yeah, I didn't find it too bad, but yeah, I can see somebody will have preference.
Yeah. It's good to have options always. So, what led the studio to decide to make an escape room game in VR?
Our initial plan was to create a small play space in game centers where two players could enjoy a VR escape room experience together. The responses from both businesses and players was overwhelmingly positive. However, with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to shift our focus and develop a consumer version, which ultimately led to the creation of Another Door as it is today.
Wow, so it's been going on since the pandemic. That's a long time, but you know it's fairly polished. I love escape rooms. I've done lots in real life. Now, very few escape rooms focus on horror as being a part of it. What brought out about this mix? Like why horror for this title?
The primary goal of our escape room game is to provide players with an immersive experience. We believe that horror elements are a powerful tool to heighten tensions, drawing players deeper into the game. It's like watching a well crafted thriller. Our aim is to keep players fully engaged, maintaining the tension as they face against the clock. That said, we recognize that not everyone enjoys intense horror. So we focused on balancing the atmosphere to maintain just the right level of suspense without overwhelming the players. Across various episodes, we've tailored the experience to offer a range of events and adventures, ensuring there's something more for everyone.
Yeah, because Samson, you don't really like horror really, but this didn't really bother you too much, right? It was just more
Definitely,
suspense.
definitely not with another player there. When I played solo, there was I think one like jump scare that it kind of got me, but I kind of expected it. But definitely two player horror like yeah, it's more of an eerie feeling. It's not so much you know I don't know
Yeah,
horror if you will.
it's much easier with a friend.
Yeah, which Was the plan from the start to always have this co-op as an option?
From the beginning, the core concept of this game was that players must work together to escape, which was a key differentiator. However, as the development progressed, we decided to add a single player mode, allowing players to experience the game solo as well. There are some subtle differences in the gameplay mechanics between the single players and co-op modes, primarily in how the cooperative elements are handled.
I see. Now, let's just talk about your publisher for a moment. I think it's Skonek. They have a lot of experience in VR, for like Mortal Blitz and Door. If people have heard of those two titles, how did you get set up with them for this game?
We see ourselves as partners, sharing various development experiences and shaping in the future together. Especially early on, both sides were completely focused on the idea of a VR escape room. Now, someone at Skonek might hear this and say, wait, that's news to us. But at least from our side, we've always seen them as our big
Mm-hmm.
brother in this space. We plan to continue this strong partnership with moving forward. The experience of this launch is a great example of how well we can work together.
Got it.
So I struggle with some of these puzzles. I'm not gonna lie. Dan definitely was bearing. He was the. I was leaning on his shoulders for us. Could you tell us about the design process for making some of the puzzles and how you find the right balance in the difficulty?
We made sure to develop a variety of puzzles to keep players engaged and prevent them from getting bored. From puzzles requiring logical thinking, spatial awareness to those that demand cooperation, we aim to enhance the immersion for players. To adjust the difficulty, we conducted test plays with regular players to gather feedback, which was then reflected in the game. As a result, the early episodes are designed to be relatively easier, while the difficulty increases as you progress toward the later episodes.
Yeah, I guess Samson, we may have when we tried it yesterday, we definitely jumped into a later episode rather than we should have started at the start and gone from there. That's
Built
why we
up.
got stuck. Yeah, we should have started from the start. So there's a lots of content in there already. There's quite a few episodes in there, and obviously it slightly changes if it's co-op as well, which is handy. But what is planned for the project post launch? Like, will you be adding additional features or additional content?
First, we have an update scheduled to add movement option I previously mentioned, improving features to create a smoother gameplay experience that meets player needs and raises overall quality. The next episode is currently in the conceptual stage, and we are aiming to bring an entirely new experience not seen before. The specific timeline for development is still under internal discussion.
Got it. Okay, fair enough.
It's never ending. It's never ending. Is there anything about your game or studio that you feels important for all our listeners out there to know? Any particular misconceptions or anything you'd like to clear up?
Yes, we totally understand and appreciate players who feel the puzzles are a bit challenging and would prefer in-game hints or even a mid-game save option for those tight on time. Our team's intention, however, has always been to preserve that pure satisfaction and thrill of escaping solely through your own efforts. While it might feel challenging at times, we hope players take the moment to look around, make one more effort, and discover the key to unlocking a puzzle. Additionally, now that the game is available on PC VR via Steam, cross-play with meta platform users opens up more ways to enjoy it together. So if a puzzle has you stumped, feel free to call on friends or for help or swing by our Discord channel where you'll find plenty of advice and valuable tips from our community.
Fantastic.
Maybe that's what we should do for that final puzzle, Dan.
Yeah. We'll have the links below. We'll have the links for the Discord and obviously the link to the quest door with another door, which you can pick up. Sam, I just have one more question. I'm not sure if you have like a perfect answer for this, but what is do you have a favorite episode in the game that you
My
like?
my favorite episode is Doll's Room because I like spooky, scary stuff. And other thing is much more about adventure. So I like scary thing. I love thrill. So yeah.
Oh, I see. I haven't tried the doll walls. Samson, you've tried the doll one, haven't you?
I think I did the solo doll one.
Yeah, that's scary.
That one. They kind of remind me of the Walkabout course with the dolls.
Yeah.
The dolls are spooky. Yeah.
The dolls are spooky for sure. Fantastic. Well, Sam, thank you so much for obviously taking time out of your day. I'm really enjoying this game. I wasn't sure how much I wanted a escape room, but it works so well, and it works so well co-op as well. Like you really want a friend to play this with you because it's so much more fun to work together. And I think what you and obviously your team have created is a really fun app, and I can't wait to see what's coming up with the additional features. So thank you so much for coming onto the show, and we wish you all the best in another door.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next week for obviously another episode.